so in the book you have all of these small questions that you've asked on the corners, and we're going to
Yeah.
ask a few questions to you.
Okay,
So,
I wasn't prepared for that, but okay, let's do it.
hello everyone, and welcome to eShe TV. Hi Saheba, thank you for joining us today. We are very excited to talk about your new book, All Kinds of Stupid. I really enjoyed reading the book and actually
Glad.
like indulging in it.
I'm glad.
And I'm going to start with some of the questions that you have asked in the book. So, if you could, what would you be? A star or a shooting star?
I would be a shooting star. I would be a
Okay.
shooting star. It will be fun now to see what all people hope for when they see me and wish for. They say now, if you see a shooting star, make a wish. So, yeah, I think I would be a shooting star.
Okay. If you could say one thing that you never said, what would it be?
I would say, damn it, I've never said this before. I would say that I forgive myself. I forgive myself. That's something I would not just tell myself, but try to believe as well. That's not something I've ever done. So it's work in progress.
Okay. What's in your heart?
What's in my heart? My heart is black, and I think black is beautiful. I think dark is beautiful. I don't have a red heart, and what's in my heart? What's in my heart is very relative to where I am, who I'm with, what I'm doing, what kind of mind space I'm in. So what's in my heart, of course, apart from the people I love and the things that I care about. It can depend. It can sometimes just be doing nothing. My heart can just be empty sometimes. And sometimes it can be so full of stuff that I feel like it's going to explode and take my brain down with it. Um, Sometimes it can be something as simple as remembering my dog or watching a show on Netflix or writing something or sketching or it's like I said, it's extremely relative to where I am physically and mentally. So, but whatever it is, it's all in a dark heart. It's in a black heart.
Pretty deep and dark a little.
Yeah, no,
So,
I love dark. I think dark is underrated. Dark, black
so
is underrated. Everything looks nice with black. See, I'm wearing black. See, you wearing
yeah, I love that.
black. Yeah, for me, it's always black.
Wow. And what do you remember from your childhood?
What do I remember from my childhood? So if were to answer this like in a really serious way, I would say it was pretty awesome in a way where I grew up in a joint family, and we were two brothers and two sisters in the same house, and there was absolutely no discrimination between boys and girls, and I think all of us were trained and tuned. Our mind was trained in a way where we were made to understand this very, very, very effectively. That if you don't earn your own livelihood, how do you plan to survive? How do you plan to exist? So I think that was just drilled so deep in all of us. My sister and I weren't expected to do the usual things that back in the day people would expect girls to do around the house. Of course, it's changed drastically now. But it was a very progressive, very, very progressive upbringing. And that was I think that is what I remember the most from my childhood. And well, my most fun memory of my childhood is all four of us brothers, like cousins, brothers, sisters. We used to pile into our really big red car every day, and we used to go horse riding and swimming. And that was just yeah, that's one of my sweetest childhood memories. It was fun.
Wow. Wonderful. and that's why I love this book, because it kind of like, takes you to these different zones, and we'll talk about a lot more about it, and how, like, the conceptualization and how you've written the book. But I want to know a little bit more about the artist in you. The book itself is a piece of art in that way. It has poetry, it has illustrations, it has ink blots, and what I personally really liked is that you invited the readers to kind of play and have fun with it. And you said play, like, sketch in it, mark it, like,
Yeah.
fold the corners. And tell us more about this, and does that reflect your artistic practice as well, in some ways?
Uh, See, I feel, and that's it's not something that I always practice, but it's something that I really believe in, and I try to consciously bring that into my life. Is that stop taking everything too seriously, right? Stop taking yourself also very seriously. Of course, you have problems, you address them, but at the end of the day, just do your best and let it go, right? And stop protecting things, and stop, putting them in plastic bags, whether that's your feelings or that's your most expensive bag or that's whatever. Just use it, wear it, express it, let it go. So, and that is my hope for the book. I hope that the book becomes a go-to sort of whenever you can't tap into your own feelings, right? So I hope the book can become that. And like I said, don't take the book too seriously. Use it, scribble on it, write somebody's name on it, send it to them. So what? So, I'll tell you, the first copy that my publishers gave me, and it was on my birthday, and when I immediately took it to some of my closest friends, and it was with us, like we were celebrating. And somebody spilled some water on it. So technically, the first copy of the book that I got has water seeped through it, but I think that's become part of the memory now. That's my first book, and that's when my friends and I celebrated, and we spilled water on it. And so don't protect it. Don't protect anything beyond the point. Of course, don't be destructive. There's a fine line, but don't protect it. So use the book, use it to tap into your own feelings, use it to express whatever it is that it triggers in your head and heart when you read something. Like I said, write somebody's name on it. So what if you spill? So what if you turn the corner? So what if the book gets a little damaged? That's all right. That is all something that you will associate with a memory when you come back to the book. And for me, that's always been the most special part about books that I've always read. I always highlight, and I always put post-its, and I always go back to those pages. And somehow they always also, it's not just then about the paragraph that I highlighted. It also then takes me back to the space I was in when I highlighted that. And today it might not mean much to me, but it makes me remember that, oh, damn, yeah, when I highlighted this, this was what was happening. And that is why it resonated with me so much. So it makes me also revisit where I was. And I think that also then by default lets you evaluate where you are today. If you can remember where you were at one point, you by default see where you are today, and you see the progress that you made as a person.
That's very interesting. I think I have also been doing this a lot, like marking my books, writing like comments, and then going back to it. But I never thought of it as a conversation with the younger self. And that dimension really, like, I like how you put it, as like, knowing where, with what space you were in, and then kind of
Yeah,
reflecting on it.
yeah.
So
So I think once in a while revisiting milestones, or not even milestones, just revisiting your past by default helps you see where you are today. Because otherwise we're living our life every day, and we're living it at an alarming pace. Everything is going so fast. There's so much information to absorb. I think we lose track of everything that we've achieved, or the emotions that we have processed, and the progress we have made, or the deterioration that has happened, both physically, mentally, emotionally. I think it's kind of important. Like, the other day I was reading something. I'll give you an example. And I was revisiting a book, and I remembered something that, oh, I read this book when I was in the hills with my friends. And I remembered we'd gone for a really long trek. And I remembered that, oh, damn, that time I could go for a trek. My knees didn't trouble me, which made me realize that, yeah, now my knees trouble me. I can't really go on a trek. So, like I said, from the smallest things to like the biggest emotions. Sometimes just tapping into your past gives you a very good sense of where you are today.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell us more about the process of conceptualizing and executing this book, and also about the name, all kinds of stupid. Like, how did you come up with it? Like, was it like, we hear about like people, like, did people question you? Are you going with this name really? Like, like how did that work out? And also about the process of the book.
So see, All Kinds of Stupid was not supposed to be a book. A. And I'll very quickly tell you how it started. I have very, very, very low tolerance for stupidity. Just I cannot. I cannot handle stupid. I can handle a lot of things. I cannot handle stupid people or situations where people are behaving stupidly. And I travel a lot. My work takes me pretty much everywhere. So basically, this started as a rant, and that time Instagram wasn't that popular. Facebook was it. And whenever I used to travel, and people used to behave weirdly at airports, I would kind of it would go up as my Facebook post that something 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 happened, and that's how I started hashtagging it. Because some people started thinking it's funny, and then I started just hashtagging it like all kinds of stupid. So it basically started with a whole lot of humor and stupidity that we see in crowds and airports, and so that's how it started, right? And as it progressed, the hashtag just stayed, because I wanted to archive everything I'm writing. I wasn't like really putting it in one place. And then, of course, my publishers, who are also my friends, closest friends, they said, listen, this is good stuff. Why don't we, like you write well, why don't we start compiling it into a book? So then I started compiling the book. And ironically, for reasons we'll get into another time, all the airport humor got scrapped out, for logical reasons. And the rest of it kind of stayed. And that's how the book came up. I mean, finally, and I've been doing this for years. I've been writing and ranting for years. So, yeah, one fine day we were like, okay, let's consolidate this into a book, and that's how the book actually happened. And then the book kind of took its own journey, right? So um, it wasn't divided into spaces before. It was just one after the other, and we were ready to come out with the book on my 40th birthday 3 years back, and that was supposed to be when we put this out. And but when I read it, I just felt that it had no emotional navigation. You know what I meant? It was just everywhere. It wasn't um, even taking me as a reader through a chartered course. It wasn't engaging my emotions one at a time. It was, and letting me dwell on it. Like suddenly it was about the weather, and suddenly it was about mental health, and suddenly it was about something else. So I was like, no, this is not happening. So there has to be some, it's stupid, but it has to have some emotional navigation. So then we assigned the book in various spaces. I put it into 5 different spaces. Um, and then it kind of made sense. And I wanted there to be a takeaway on every page, right? So a lot of us are emotionally very blocked. And even when you kind of read something and it resonates with you, you still can't put a finger on what it has exactly resonated with. So that's where the question came in the end, right? That okay, now you've read this, it's making you feel a certain way, but that's your takeaway. And who is this reminding you of, or what is this reminding you of, or what is this making you feel? And um, I'm hoping people ask themselves that question, and I hope it gives them some answers.
No, that's really nice, and I would want you to talk like a little bit more about the spaces that you've created, and the, like, you're talking about love, you're talking about grief. It went away from how you spoke about, from airport humor to something very real and raw, and like, um and and for me as a reader, when I was reading, it gave me space to like, to, like, to be stupid, like, in a way, to like, to indulge in like a certain kind of an emotion, or indulge in a certain kind of a thought, or process it. So it gave that, I don't know, it is more like bravery in stupidity is what I found, as that's how it resonated with me. And
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if you could if you could talk a little bit more about the spaces that you've actually dealt with, what are the themes that have been important, and how you design this, like, course of the journey that you're talking about.
So, well, first I just wrote the book, and I'm not like a professional writer. I haven't studied writing or literature or anything. So, first I just wrote the book, and like I said, the spaces, like I just felt it had no emotional navigation. So I said, okay, now I've written this, but I am a designer by profession, right? Let me design the book now. Let me see it objectively from a designer's point of view. The content is there, it's ready, but let me design it. So that's when I started designing it, right? And the book is essentially divided into 5 spaces. The first one is about quintessential love and quintessential loss, right? Which is, if you are alive, you are constantly going to love, and you're constantly going to have losses, right? It's whether you're losing a pet, or you're losing a friend, or you're losing somebody to death, you're just losing somebody in your life. It's an ongoing process, right? Nothing is constant, and it's important to acknowledge that of course it's a loop, it keeps going on, but don't get into a rut, right? Don't think that, damn, this just keeps happening. It will happen for as long as we live. So the first space taps into that, the quintessential love and quintessential loss. The second one is, while you're busy loving and losing, you kind of acknowledge who you are and your traumas, and you start understanding why you are a certain way, why you react a certain way, why you lose your temper, or why you never say anything, why you bottle up your emotions. So um, the third is that if the child in you never healed, that's what space 2 says. If the child in you never healed, chances are neither have you, which I think is very, very true. And we all have buried trauma and memories that we don't acknowledge. And just because we don't acknowledge them, it does not mean that they're going to go away. They are going to take some other kind of avatar, and they're going to surface in a completely different way, right? And it's going to come out in a way which even you might not recognize. So the second one is about tapping into those, and acknowledging those, right? The third one is the third space is grieve, heal, flow, and repeat, right? So grieve it, understand, oh damn, this happened. Oh damn, this is what it did to me. Figure out what you need to do to heal, right? Stop romanticizing it, stop dwelling over it like, shit, this happened, it's so unfair. And get the help you need, vent, talk, see a therapist, get medicines, do what you love, whatever it takes, heal, and then repeat. Because like I said, space 1 is loving and losing all the time. So if you're going to be loving and losing all the time, you're also going to be grieving, healing, and repeating. So it's kind of an ongoing process. The fourth space is about, like I said, it's about shooting stars, and it's about finding it taps a lot into nature, which basically means finding your own grounding. So of course, explore as much as you want, but just keep like a cord tied very close to the ground all the time. Don't identify who you are. Don't be all over the place. Don't get influenced by everything that's around you. Be very, very, very calmly sure about who you are, right? And then you can keep adjusting your frequencies and wavelengths, and you can keep tapping into different experiences and people, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, when you come back home, you need to be really, really sure about who you are, right? And that's where I feel that nature plays a really important part. Um, you will realize things about yourself when you're walking barefoot on grass that you will otherwise never know. At least that's how I feel. Or if you just sit down quietly in an open space under the sky, or if you just sit down quietly and you connect with the nature with nature as is, whether it's the sea. Like right now, I can see the sea right in front of me. It's beautiful. I would show it to you, but it'll screw up the camera angle. It makes you realize a lot of things. You look at the sea, look at the stars, look at the moon. If you're sitting in the car and you see the moon and you just fix your gaze on it for 10 minutes, it will take you spaces. And the fourth space is about finding that. And the fifth space is it says that give your dreams a name, or at least give them a chance. So it's easy, to get disheartened. I do every day. I have to pick myself up every day morning, and it all looks like, oh wow, she's got it all together. But just picking myself up from the bed in the morning is for me a humongous task. It takes me. I'm better now, but I was really unwell 2 years back with my mental health, and it used to take me close to 3 hours to just get ready in the morning, to just take a shower and put on my work clothes and get to office. And just that process would be a few hours, and I would break down a few times in those few hours. Like there have been so many times where I've gotten ready and I've broken down, and then I've had to wash my face and put on my makeup again, and broken down again, and then wash my face and put on my makeup again. It's happened during work hours where in the middle of the day I've broken into a complete panic attack. But then again, like I pick myself up, clean myself. I always carry and invest in very good under eye concealer. I would suggest everybody do that. It will be your best friend. And I've gone and given a full blown presentation and owned it right after a panic attack. Um, I don't know whether that's a healthy thing or not, but that's my coping mechanism. So I think what the fifth space, give your dreams a name or at least give them a chance. I think what always kept me going is that I always had a pending dream. Okay, uh, let me try and finish this project. Let me try and finish my book. Let me try and finish this. Or, let me, something as small as, okay, let me try and attend my friend's birthday this weekend. Let me try and have a good time this weekend. Or, so from really small dreams to like the bigger ones, which kind of get more eyeballs and bandwidth, it's important to always have dreams. And it's very easy to get disheartened where you feel like, listen, I've tried enough and I cannot do it anymore. It's not like I've not given my dreams a chance. It's not like I did not try to do this, but I failed. It's okay. But always have a couple of dreams in your immediate future. I'm telling you, that is what will keep you going. So that's what the fifth space is. That give your dreams a name and give them a chance, and it's all right. को- कोई ना कोई तो काम करेगा ना कभी at it. I mean, the universe is not that cruel. So that's the fifth space, and it leaves you at that um, go through the whole process, love, lose, grieve, heal, repeat, address your traumas, romanticize the moon. All of that is great, but at the end of the day, you have to have a dream. And my advice is have a couple of them. It is what will keep you going. I am telling you, I was actually collapsing. I was physically, mentally, emotionally. I had completely zeroed down. I was collapsing, and I had to be nuked with like a lot of, God bless you, a
Sorry,
lot of
sorry.
medicines, and I was having close to a dozen medicines a day, and I mean, they had to nuke my body to like bring me back, and this is all related to mental health. So but I'm telling you, that is what got me through. When it was taking me hours to get ready, and when I would go about my day, and with a lot of difficulty, I would come back, I would crash again. But it was all my dreams in the immediate future, which kept me going. Okay, let me not give up right now. Let me just see how this pans out. Okay, let me not give up now. Let me see how this pans out. And so that is what I hope finally, if people can keep their attention to the book for like a little while, and they actually go through it without getting distracted. Everybody has ADHD. Everybody has a short attention span. I hope that is what finally they take away from the book, to always have a dream.
That's really nice and a great way to cope up with. I have a couple of questions, but I want to first ask you, like, what are your current dreams that you're working towards?
Um, well, I'm very blessed. So I'm designing a couple of really phenomenal spaces in Bombay. I'm an interior designer by profession. That's my bread and butter. Um, the book hasn't started giving me money yet. I'm hoping it will. So I'm designing a pretty epic property, a restaurant in Bombay, and I'm hoping that it turns out to be one of Asia's best. So that's what we're going for. That's my professional dream at the moment. I'm really hoping for this book to do well. Book number 2 is almost ready. I'm compiling it. Hopefully, it should be out in 6 to 8 months, which is going to be a complete departure from what this book is. And book number two is a dream. The project couple of projects that I'm designing as an interior designer is the dream. And also my quintessential dream. I want to be okay. I want my mental health to be okay. I mean, I want to get well, and it's an uphill task. It's difficult, but that is my ultimate dream. I don't want to battle with the voices in my head, fatigue in my brain anymore. And then that's the deeper dream, if you were to give it a name.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think just to take this conversation a little forward in that direction, like how difficult was it to put yourself out there in these poems in that sense? Because they do seem deeply personal, or is it like a reflection of completely your narrative, or did you get also inspired by what other people were going through? And if you could talk a little bit more about that.
It was my narrative, uh, but I have come to realize that all of us pretty much have similar narratives. The fact that as many people, whoever's read the book till now, the one common thing that they have said that it feels like this was my story, right? This was my narrative, or this was how I felt. So I think we humans are all very similar in a lot of ways. So if I were to answer your question very briefly, yes, it was my narrative, but it turns out that it's also the narrative for most of us. I mean, unless you're a radically different person, it's yeah, it's common. It's mine. It's ours. I don't know how to answer this better.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, no,
our
no,
narrative.
definitely.
It's our narrative.
So, no, it's deep, it's dark. But you know what I found most interesting is that it does have a sense of humor. Like, it's not without humor, right? So, how did you kind of design or maintain that emotional arc? Because you're talking about this deep loss of love, a lot of grief, heartbreak. And then there is a lot of humor and, like, fun you're having while, like, at least, like, I could resonate with it. Or was it sarcastic humor? Or was it, like, if you could talk a little bit more about that?
Brings me back to the first thing I said. Stop taking everything seriously. If you cannot, um, after doing everything that you can do for a person, for a situation, for yourself, for a work, if you cannot find something funny um, or something humorous in it, you'll collapse. I mean, I'm telling you, if you start taking everything very, very seriously, you will collapse. Um, so that's where the humor comes in. And like I said, I have a dark heart. So dark heart is equal to dark humor. And so that's the humor. And you have to find the silver lining. You have to believe in the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You have to make fun of yourself. You have to make fun of each other. You have to not take everything too seriously. Like, I'll give you an example. I decided a couple of years back. And like I said, we were all trained to work hard. That is like our training, like work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard. So that's just how us kids we were brought up. And I decided that yeah, that's awesome. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna work very hard. I work harder than most people I know. But I have decided that I am not going to defer enjoyment or fun. I'm not going to keep it for the weekend. I am not going to keep it just for vacations, which actually I've not had in almost 3 years now. So, to give you an example, if I end up going out for dinner on a Monday night, and if one thing rolls into another, and my Monday night turns into a party, I let it. I don't think that it's Monday. No, how can I party? How can I do it? It's you know, I don't defer enjoyment at all. Uh, I watch what I eat, sure, most of the time, but never in my life ever have I denied myself what they call a cheat meal. Like if I want to have fried momos, I'll have them. I'm not even going to think twice about that. So find the humor, eat the fried momos, party on a Monday night, um, try and make fun of like the darkest situations. I'm telling you, they're less intimidating if you can do that. if you can find a joke in the darkest space, um, like I'll give you, tell you a really funny story. There was this one night I was bawling my eyes out for some reason, and I was on a call with one of my closest friends, Bhumika. We've been together for 25 years, and we were in college together. And I was on the phone with her, and I kept crying, 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 crying. And she said, "Okay, go now, wash your face and everything." And I said, and I put her on speaker. I washed my face, and I was standing in front of my dressing table, and I was looking at myself. I was, damn, you've seen the dark circles that have happened, like my eyes. I said, just let me put my under eye cream. You know, she tells me, छोड़ ना, it's such an expensive अंडर आई क्रीम, अभी रोना ही तो है, फिर उतर जाएगी. Oh my god, seriously. I mean, my world is collapsing and you bother you, and I'm telling you, let me fix my eyes, and you're like, no, you're gonna cry only, na, you face to change. Okay. So you see, I'm also surrounded by such crackpots, na. So it's not just me. Everybody around me is also like that. So my sister's like that. My closest friends are like that. I mean, they just have to make a bad joke or a joke out of everything. All my friends are like that. So yeah, I think that's where the humor stems from. It's a little bit of me and a little bit of the weirdos I have in my life.
That's amazing. So it does make it, like, all the more fun to kind of go through it. Uh, so I think the last question about the book is, what is your vision for the book? Because it comes with this bag, and it is designed in a way to be a keepsake in that sense, and that's what you've mentioned as well in the intro. And if you could talk a little bit more about that, and how, like, it is. I imagine it as a companion through these phases of life that we all go through.
Yeah. Um. Okay. So I'm going to. I don't know if I should say this, but my vision for the book, or my hope for the book, genuinely, is, how in the Alcoholics Anonymous program you have this book of one day at a time, right? And you have your 12 steps, healing steps, and that's true for all addicts. That's it's a universal treatment. You have this book that says one day at a time, and there are 365 pages in it, and it's kind of a bible for people who are dealing with addiction. Um, so, cut to my hope for this book, for all kinds of stupid. I really hope it becomes a go-to when you're going through different emotions and you need to sort of find some kind of grounding, right? Like I said, we all block our emotions. All of us are not emotionally connected with ourselves. Most of us are not. I mean, I've written a book, but I am the most disconnected person that I know. I'm not connected to myself. I hope the book can be everyone's go-to when you cannot process and analyze your own emotions, right? And which is why it is also broken into 5 compartments and 5 spaces. uh, so you kind of get a sense of what you're feeling, and then you see which space you want to visit out of the 5 spaces in the book. And I hope it becomes your go-to whenever you want to recognize your own emotions, but you can't put a pin on it, or you can't express it, or it's also something that I hope makes people feel like, okay, I'm not alone, like we discussed earlier, right? It's not my narrative. Sure, it's my narrative. I've written the book, but I think it's our narrative. So I hope people can find, everybody who reads the book can find some comfort in knowing that, okay, I'm not alone. And as much as it looks like, oh, he has it together, she has it together, we're all very frail, we're all very vulnerable, we all have our weak moments. Uh, and So I'm not doing this alone. A lot of people are doing this with me. And I hope it encourages that dialogue. I hope people start talking to each other really about what they're feeling. Um, I hope that when you read this book and it reminds you of someone, I hope that you write their name on it and you take a picture and you send it to them. I hope it encourages healthy communication about mental health. I hope it encourages healthy communication about uh, things we feel but we don't say. I hope it stops people from getting into the rut of love and loss. Um, at the end of the day, I hope it encourages people to have a dream and not give up, and know that you are not alone. I think that's so important because we all have these perfect lives on not just social media, even otherwise. Like I said, I had a panic attack and gone into like a massive meeting and made a presentation. Like nobody could have said that, oh damn, like in our back she couldn't breathe, and and people in the presentation have been like, wow, like killed it, nailed it, blah blah blah. So I mean, who would have guessed, right? So I hope we can normalize whatever it is that we're feeling, the frayed emotions, the weak parts, the things that we feel we need to protect and guard and not speak about because people will think we're weak. No, you're not weak. Um, we're all going through the same tide, the same highs and lows. It's more intense for some, it's less intense for some. But I hope the book can be your companion. And I hope you're not alone.
That's really nice. I think great to kind of move towards the end of this interview. But just one question I have, one more. So while you are while you're writing books, while you're doing performing art, and I think we started this conversation off camera about you doing so many things, wearing so many hats, and running an architectural firm as well. So if you could talk a little bit about how do you manage all of it, and you have spoken about certain dreams that you're chasing, and if you have what is next for you as a writer, designer, artist. We haven't spoken so much about the book, that if you want to just kind of put it all together, and we can end it.
Um, okay, so I'm a type A control freak. I always have been. I always need to know everything about anything that I'm doing, right? I think if you want to break boundaries, it is very important to know what the boundaries are, and it's very important to understand what they entail and what they stand for, and you need to have um, a respectful disregard for them if you want to break them, right? So, like I said, I'm a type A control freak. So, everything at work, especially my office, is broken down into systems and processes, etc., etc., and we follow that, and that brings a lot of method to the madness. But one very recent development, or not development, but that's just something that I have decided very, very recently, that um, having these massive plans and then end goals is overwhelming, right? So, for the first time in my life, what I have decided is that I'm going to do all of these things, right? I am going to design, I am going to do my performance art and other art, and I'm going to write, and I'm going to have an immediate plan for them. I'm just going to put them out there and I'm going to put them on track. And then, like I said, for the first time in my life, I've decided I'm going to let it take its own natural course. I'm not going to be the type A control freak that I am. I will let it grow organically, take its own journey, uh, hit its own milestones. I will navigate it at every milestone. I'll see how it's growing, and I'll, of course, give it everything I can. But I am not going to have from the beginning till the end chartered course for each thing, because I'll go mad. Because I'm doing so many things, and if everything has to go according to like something that I have planned, I lose my minds. And also, that's something I've done all my life. I've always had a perfect plan for everything. Um, so I think I want to sit back, do everything that I enjoy, and then kind of put it out there and see how it grows, and navigate it time to time. So, to answer your question, yeah, my plan is to do everything I love, put it out there, and let it do its thing then.
That's wonderful. I think that's a wonderful note to kind of end on. And thank you for being so raw and real. Your book does help navigate like a lot of chaos that we encounter in life, and how to go through heartbreak, how to go through losses that we suffer, as well as this conversation was very honest, and how do you navigate your professional life as well. So and yeah, and what I am taking from this conversation is like, have a lot of dreams, have a lot of pending dreams, and that's what is the most important thing. So thank
Have
you,
a lot
Sai.
of pending dreams, and also, we all say, that, okay, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. Like, exactly how are you supposed to love yourself? Like, you're not going to like do this to yourself every day, na? So, I mean, love yourself basically means do everything that you love doing, and that is when you'll feel good about it. So don't think that this is not my 9 to 5 job, so if I'm doing this, no, your 9 to 5 job could be accounting, but if you love writing, write. And don't think that what good is this going to do, what is it going to get me. It's okay if it doesn't get you anything, uh, but do everything you love doing anyway, and that's how you will love yourself. Like, when you say that, how do you find time for art and for writing? I don't find time for it. These are my expressions, and then if I don't do them, and I lose my mind. These are the things that keep me sane. So, yeah, do everything you love. Do everything you love doing. Don't think that this is not my bread and butter and it's a waste of time. Or you like playing with Play-Doh, play with Play-Doh. My midlife crisis was in Hamleys. I bought like all the Play-Doh and kinetic sand they had, and people buy expensive cars. I bought Play-Doh. So do whatever you like doing, irrespective of your profession, your age, your sex, your every the smallest thing you love doing, do it.
Perfect. So do what you love, and perfect note to end this conversation on. Thank you, Saiba, for taking out time and talking to us.
Thank you
It
so
has
much
been
for having.
wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.